So getting straight into it with the main headline today, TMZ reporting that Vince McMahon underwent a major surgery last week to fix his spine. And a follow-up report from Fightful Select has reported that the surgery took place last week and has kept him from attending Raw or SmackDown recently. It continued on saying the surgery is said to have been near 5 hours long, and those close to him claim that it was a major life-altering operation. Fightful said they reached out to WWE for a comment and if it would affect his work going forward, but they did not get a direct response on that. The report also notes that Triple H was not at Raw this past week, and it was instead run by Bruce Pritchard, but he is expected to be back imminently. It was also noted that talents backstage had no idea that Vince had undergone surgery until it was made public last night.
Yeah, it's kind of a big story. It seems like every July we get a big Vince McMahon story at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, going under life-altering surgery, we're not quite sure the extent of that in terms of how that will affect him going forward. Obviously, WWE didn't give a comment to Fightful Select about that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's been an issue that's been on him for quite a while.
Compounding.
Getting worse. He is a 70-odd-year-old man.
And he's a man who started his in-ring career at quite an age for somebody to get into the ring.
He's also someone who, from an elderly age, has a lot of weight to him because he still worked out quite a bit. As we know, he was in the ring as of last year.
But there's going to be some degree of rehabilitation surely following a major surgery like this, and maybe that is going to be in his benefit, I guess. He is physically fit. That's what Vince is. Like, you've seen all of those muscle and fitness photo shoots where he's like biting the barbell and stuff. The guy is absolutely jacked. So you've got to think that you not even think, that Vince McMahon has the willpower and drive to get himself back on his feet. It's just going to be a matter of time with it.
Right, but it'll be interesting to see if this was something that he's wanted to have done for a while, and then with the merger coming up, it's the best time for it. But we'll see. You always, whenever anyone goes under surgery, you do hope for the best. 5 hours is a long surgery. He is old, so it does make it that life altering. It might not have been if he'd done it years and years ago, but we'll keep an eye on it.
It's one of those ones where I think more news may trickle out, but it may not, because it's sort of, I guess,
it's a private health matter. That's the end of the day. Them not revealing it to even the WWE staff and talents were unaware of it.
Says it all, doesn't it? So it's one of those things where sending our best, and we know he's going to recover because he's Vince.
Because it is Vince.
He's literally the Terminator.
I wonder if we will notice this. We obviously covered earlier in the week that Vince has got some nicknames for some people on the main roster now. Like, we've got Big Bronson Reed, is one of them. But it's interesting, and it will be interesting to see how much influence after the surgery, if it is so life-altering and he's going to be out for a while recovering, if he will be at Raw, if he will be at SmackDown, if he will still be taking all those notes that he's been making on the show since WrestleMania.
You've got to imagine, again, that none of that's going to change. It's just going to be a matter of time until it continues on, I guess. So
yeah, true.
But we'll keep our eye on it and report anything that does break further on the story. But keeping it with WWE here, speaking with our own Tom Campbell,
we've got a report.
Ilya Dragunov commented on the rumors of him potentially joining Imperium on the main roster. He said, who would actually want that? There's no more people with more differences than me toward Imperium. Imperium is stoic and cold, brilliant at what they do, but I'm the opposite. I'm the emotionally loaded, intense Matt Dragon who can barely control himself as soon as he enters the ring. I see no reason why that would happen. I don't even understand the question about this. I read that, of course, but literally it doesn't fit at all. You can check out the whole interview between Tom and Ilya Dragunov on our podcast feed, but I agree. A lot of people saying Ilya Dragunov would be a good fit for Imperium, and I've been guilty of running away on that train mentally and going, I could kind of see it. But at the same time, he would have to change up a lot of his in-ring style, I think, to kind of fit into that. And at that point, are you still Ilya Dragunov if you have to change so much about your style to kind of be that more controlled, more, direct, calm in-ring talent?
That's the thing. Yeah, he's got a lot of charisma, especially when it comes to the ring. His entrances feel grand.
It's not a case of whether he could do it, because he could 100% do it. Look at the guy's like insanely talented. Yeah. But I think it's one of those things where you would lose that thing that makes Ilya Dragunov special.
Yeah, right. I think when he's saying, who would actually want that on paper, perfect, literally perfect. You've got these guys who built themselves up on the European wrestling scene. just beating the crap out of everyone else that stands in their way.
It's not like you couldn't do the gymnastics to get him into Imperium because of that.
Right, yeah.
Because they're from a very similar sort of time on the same scene.
Yeah, but I think we'll see when he gets called up to the main roster, one of his first feuds be with Gunther. I think if they're going to wait, and if Drew doesn't take the belt off him at SummerSlam, and he does break Honky Tonk Man's record, you bring up Dragunov and go, right, we're going to run this back. You're the guy that beat him. Can you do it again?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And it would establish Dragunov as sort of a big presence on the main roster and giving them that little brush with Imperium that everyone kind of wants. Just doesn't mean that he gets lumped in there, because he might get lost in the shuffle. Dragunov is one hell of a talent, as you said, and him being taking seconds fiddle to Gunther.
Yeah,
they're both
I think that's
top stars.
He just needs that little bit of spotlight when he arrives, I think, so that people realize how good he actually is.
Absolutely.
And fingers crossed it is a feud of that magnitude. But just talking back about call-ups there, you mentioned there might not be any for a little bit, or there might be some, but it's going to be kind of a bit weird for NXT. And it doesn't look like there's going to be any new faces popping up on the main roster from outside the company for a bit, because according to recent reports, WWE has expressed interest in Nick Aldis and Brian Pillman Jr., but an update from the Wrestling Observer has said they've been unable to confirm if Pillman has signed with the company. The belief, according to the report, is that WWE is limiting new signings right now and will only add talent to the roster in special cases. The feeling in NXT is that there won't be any new additions until the WWE UFC merger is complete. The report does note that WWE is still scouting talent and have held talks with some to tell them that they're interested, but they're going to need to wait until the merger's complete to complete the signings. Now, I don't think the merger is going to be, like the back end of 2029 or anything.
No.
It's surely right around the corner, but it's interesting that in the meantime, the company's kind of just focusing on that, not really looking to bring people in immediately, still telling people, obviously, we're interested if you can just sort of keep this window of time.
And it seems like it's kind of impacted quite a few potential signings. Yeah. We know Jay White, obviously, there was a lot of discussion. Will he go to WWE? Will he go to AEW? And he did go to AEW in the end, but it felt like it was on the cusp of happening. Yeah. We also heard reports at the start of the year that WWE was interested in Kota Ibushi, and even Triple H was coming up with creative plans for both of those talents. Another name springs to mind that it was speculation now, but Matt Cardona. We'd heard rumors for ages. Oh, Matt Cardona's going
especially
back to
after
WWE.
Chelsea Green popped back up.
And the thing is, she was signed last year before there was any discussion of mergers and before a potential hiring freeze. Matt Cardona, for example, left Impact, left every other place he was wrestling.
Yeah.
And then he didn't appear in WWE. I think we'll see a lot of these talents that are just floating in the independents.
They're just sort of biding their time.
Not signing anywhere. Crop up once the hiring freeze or WWE stopping limiting it. Also could make sense as to why they've maybe offered Nick Aldis a producer role. Yeah. Because it's a way in the company to get around the hiring freeze of talent.
I still can't believe he's only 36.
Still a young
yeah, the guy's got so much more to do in the ring.
I remember when he was in Gladiators. Back in 2009 on Sky One.
You know what I like, Fraser?
What do you like?
I like wrestlers and wrestling associated things appearing where they shouldn't appear, or where they feel a bit out of the ordinary.
Do you love that?
Yeah, I do.
You love Rainbow Six Siege then, Sam, because it was announced on the Rainbow Six Siege Twitter/X. Oh, I had the update. It now says X on my phone. I don't like it. But on that very app, whatever it's called now, you can the Rainbow Six Siege announced that you can now dress in the game as Roman Reigns or Rhea Ripley. It was very strange. The character of Onyx was dressed as Roman Reigns, but it's kind of an uncanny sort of that doesn't look like Reigns. That's not right.
That's Roman, but it's not Roman.
But you can play as them in the game. They've now joined the likes of The Undertaker and Becky Lynch, who you previously could have costumes for.
I mean, we're seeing more and more of this, I think, since the Nick Khan era has began. We've seen, we had Fall Guys WWE, I had the Undertaker skin for a while. Rocket League,
Even
it's
before that, they were in Gears.
Yeah, and I'm sure they did something with like World of Tanks or War Thunder as well.
I think World of Tanks, So it's exciting to see some little crop-ups there. It's weird to see them like appearing in non-WWE games.
But it's good.
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? It's sort of, I don't know, for me, it just makes it all feel a little bit bigger than it once felt.
Animal Crossing featuring...
Oh, come on, give me the Boogeyman in Animal Crossing. I want it.
That's it. Money right there.
I want
Nintendo.
it. Well, moving over towards SummerSlam next weekend. It's just 1 week away, of course. And according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE is planning to add Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez for the Women's World Championship to the card. Obviously, Ripley played a part in Raquel and Liv losing the women's tag titles a few weeks ago. And as of this past Monday, wrote Liv Morgan off TV to deal with a legitimate injury.
Yeah.
So Rhea is continuing to tear things up. I think that this is, again, it's another match that we know can be solid.
Yep.
So I think that, it's definitely one of the ones where I'm going to be watching out for it on the card.
It'll be a really good match.
Yeah.
Not really much more to say on that one. It's an expected match. We're going to get it. It's a shame Liv is injured.
Back and forward, hasn't it, this whole thing? So it is a very big shame Liv's injured, but hopefully it is just going to be something small that takes her out for a little amount of time.
My only worry is that it's maybe, if they do want to push Raquel, it's maybe a bit too early for her to take a loss against Rhea, and it's a bit too early for Rhea to lose the belt.
But it's all in the match, right? If it's an incredibly back and forth, very competitive match, that can make somebody. You don't need to win. So it's one of those things. It's one of those things where I think that both talents are capable of bringing that element to the match, and I think that it could quietly just sizzle its way right up the scale after all's said and done on the night.
It'll be a good match for sure. I'm excited for SummerSlam. Very excited.
Well, one talent, this is where we're going to finish things off on this news video today. One talent we've heard for a long time WWE's been interested in, and we touched on Kota Ibushi earlier, we touched on a couple more people like Matt Cardona, but it was Roosh. We heard as far back as Black and Gold NXT that Triple H wanted Roosh, desperately really wanted Roosh on the roster, and that there were overtures potentially being made all the way back then. But in an update on the current situation of Roosh, Dave Meltzer revealed in the Wrestling Observer that while the WWE were interested in signing him to NXT, the understanding is that they would have to make him a much bigger offer than the majority of stars in developmental. WWE actually made an offer, never actually made an offer. It was reportedly discovered by WWE that they knew Roosh wouldn't leave AEW due to the money being offered to him, which was described as insane money. The length of his new AEW contract is currently unknown, but it's not really surprising that Roosh would command such a high paycheck considering his status south of the border.
Yeah, he's a big deal.
Yeah,
like he brings in a lot of attention, and now I feel like he was very smart. He signed a 1-year deal with AEW, and we'll see where the market's at this time next year. He wasn't utilized as best as he could have been in that 1 year. Yeah, but being able to play WWE and AEW against each other, and AEW going, we will give you whatever money you want, whether it's insane money. That insane money could be describing insane money for someone in developmental, for an NXT level contract, but it could genuinely be insane, a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be more details.
It's one of those things, WWE's always looking for Mexican stars. It seems like WWE's really always trying to look for Mexican stars, but I think one thing AEW do really well is they just bring that kind of world flavor of wrestling to their product with such ease. You've got people from all over the wrestling sphere just gelling and blending together pretty seamlessly. So I think that AEW are going to continue to foster that and let it grow. And I think that, to do that, you need big names like Roosh.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what he does in AEW.
Yeah. Well, keep it with us this weekend. We'll have all the regular content going out. It's the build to SummerSlam, of course. So there'll be plenty of SummerSlam stuff coming up through the week as well. Get back through the channel. Make sure you check out Tom's interview with Ilya Dragunov on the podcast feed. And if there's any more news that breaks this weekend, we will be back with an update. Keep it here. Bye-bye.